Hello, hello. I am so glad to be here with you today. It for me, this is a time when I get to really reach out to you and spend some time with you and get to respond to some of the things that people have asked me about, and in this really lovely, free way. And also, that is, it's a way where we're always focused on joy, right? We are always, this is a space where even when we're talking about the problems, we're talking about the problems so that we get to a place that is more joyous, more happy, more fun, more playful, whatever those things are that you want to call into your life. A lot of times it's hard to figure out how to call them because here you are in your life sabotaging yourself, not even knowing it, right? Or finding yourself in some cycle of lack of confidence or other problems that are not really in your awareness, or worse, if they're in your awareness and you still don't know what to do about them. So here you are bumbling around going, oh, I wish I could change, but I don't know how. I don't know what the answer is, but I know what the problem is. So if you're in either of those places, this is a way for us to really be able to talk about how do we find our way to something better. So today we're going to talk about 7 ways that you're sabotaging your confidence. So, confidence is a super interesting topic because it is an outside job and an inside job, right? Excuse me. 1 second. Thank you. Um, yeah, it's an outside job and an inside job, right? So, what I mean by that is that confidence is something that people look at us and they say, oh, that person's confident or not confident. And sometimes we feel confident and we look confident. Sometimes we don't feel confident, but we still look confident. And vice versa, right? So, people's opinions of what confident is and your opinion of what confident feels like are totally different a lot of times. So, I want to ask you, have you ever found yourself wishing and then quickly reassessing yourself and going, well, that's not, I don't even want that. I don't even want that. Right? So you'll be in a situation, somebody will say to you, or in the room, hey, does anyone want to go to China to, work with the Olympians? Right? This happened actually. I never thought of telling you this story, but this is true. And in that moment, when somebody offers you something, when somebody says, hey, you're one of the people that could be, right? Then do you find yourself going like, oh, they're talking to everybody else in the room. They're not talking to me. They're talking to other people. I don't know who they're talking to, but it couldn't possibly be me. Or you go like, yes, oh, that's not realistic, right? So there was a time in my life that was a perfect example of this. China was not one of them. I really wanted to go and got to prepare for that. So it was amazing. And but there was a time in my life when I was running a company, and it was really a difficult time. There was so much busyness. There was so much to do, and there was no there looked like there was no space for me to say, let's hire this person or that person or another person, right? And it looked like that from inside my head, right? It wasn't even that I voiced it and got shut down. It's that I looked at the situation, and sometimes we do this, right? We look at the situation, we go like, oh, that won't work. And then we come up with another idea. Oh, that won't work, right? So I was busting, right? I was working really hard and I couldn't quite find my way. That, even though it doesn't seem like confidence, that is a confidence issue. That is a confidence issue that the world will not support you in your desires. And so take that in, right? Take that in. When we look at where is it that we are not confident, I mean, I would describe myself as someone who has been confident my whole life. And yet there are these little spaces, right? And so if you're someone who feels like, no, I'm pretty confident, that's okay. But also notice, are there ways in which that you could break free even a little more, right? So the other way that we experience non-confidence, right, is that we get ourselves into we're like super confident, then we get ourselves into a situation and we go like, yeah, I can totally do that. And then it's a little ways before we're going to show up to the situation, right? And we're like, oh, this was a mistake. What was I thinking? This was a mistake. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't. Why did I tell them that I could lead it? What was I thinking, right? So this happened to me so many times. I went to performing arts school when I was young, and well, of course, because that's when you go to school most of the time. And I often was in a situation where the people around me could see that I could fill a role, right? I could move forward. I could shine a little brighter. And they could see my shine. And when I was with them, I could see my shine. And yet I couldn't really see it when I wasn't with them, right? I needed to be able to tap into that energy just a little bit more inside of me. And another way, and we're going to get to those 7 things, but these are just examples of ways in which we get in our own way around confidence. And I felt like it was really important to talk to you guys about that before we get to those 7 ways that you're sabotaging yourself. Because, you know, like I said, awareness is the key. Awareness is the key. Right? So the more aware we are, the more easy it is for us to tap in and go like, okay, maybe I want to make a change because I can see my life in this light where not all of it is as shiny as I want it to be. Not all of it is as confident as I want it to be. So that third scenario that I just want to bring up is about saying you have an idea and then shrinking back. Right? So sometimes this manifests as like you're in a meeting, or sometimes even in your family, right? Anytime you're in a group of people, a small group of people, and there's something you're all working on, you're on a project, and you go like, oh, I have an idea. And then you feel the room and you go, oh, no, I don't. And sometimes if you have a lack of confidence, you will shrink back, right? That will look like, you'll say, no, oh, no, I forgot what it is. Or even you'll say something that somebody else kind of already said, or you'll say that safe option that was in your head. Like you had an option there that was, not the really scary thing to say, not the brilliant idea, but there was no space for that brilliance, right? There was no space for you to feel confident that it wouldn't get shot down. So those are some of the ways. And this is the list of 7. We're going to go into it right now. So the first thing is seeing yourself as not good enough. Often when we do that, we come up with, it'll never work. I always mess it up. I'm not really the same as the people here. I don't have the same training. I don't have the same, even sometimes you're way overqualified and you still do that to yourself, right? Where you just are in a position where you see yourself as totally not good enough, even though you're the shiny light that they need, right? So that's one way. Another way that we sabotage our confidence is pessimism, right? I call it pessimism and realism, the bully duo, right? Because the pessimism is really overt, right? It'll never work. I'm not good enough. The world is hard. Checking my notes. The world is hard, and like this isn't going to work out, right? Pessimism is fine. The world is not going to accept me the way I am. My idea is not really all that good. That's not so hard because you can at least see it. But realism is what is really going to get under your skin here, right? So that's when you say to yourself, yeah, this is a good idea. Yeah, I think I can do that. Well, I did try it before and it didn't work, but maybe I'm different now, right? So you're going two sides of the same coin, two sides of the same coin over and over and over again. And what happens is you never have enough energy to gain any momentum, right? So you never get to that place where there's energy flowing through your body that is the energy of confidence, right? Instead, it's I turn the faucet on, I turn the faucet off. I turn the faucet on, I turn the faucet off. And that's how we do it. We do it up here. Okay. Then we have people pleasing. People pleasing, you know well. I feel like everybody knows this well. And the reason I say that is because we live in society, right? And we live in families and we live in neighborhoods. And, right, there's always someone that you're in relationship with. And when you're in relationship with people, then there are ways of behaving that are going to be acceptable, and there are ways of behaving that are not going to be acceptable. And so it's a fine line between being tapped in to who you are and what you need and how you express yourself and not being unacceptable to other people. And that's when we use this term people pleasing, right? When it is out of balance, when we say, yes, I do want to please you because of course I want to please the people in my surroundings, right? But I want them to be pleased, not that I want to please them. Do you see the difference? That when we're pleasing them on purpose only for them and doing things to ourselves that is actually not okay, it is not pleasing, then that's when you're out of balance there. And so you've done it, I've done it, we've all done it, right? Because balance is always a windy road, right? We go to the edge and we come back and we go to the other edge and we come back. So finding that balance where you can be you and it's okay for everybody else to not be so happy about it and for them to then adjust to who you are in the future. So people pleasing. All right. Oh, the blinders of reality. So this is when you're realistic, right? This is like reality is happening. I know it's not going to work. I know it is not going to work, but I want it to work. And I want to be the one that helps it work. But I really feel like that's not how the world works, right? So often people will even say this to you, particularly in work situations, and particularly when you're younger, when you're going out into the world, right? This happens all the time at that age where people will say to you, you'll say, "I want to be a rock star," and whatever your dream is, and people will say, "Okay, great. What's your plan?" And you say, "I'm going to be happy and I'm going to go out there and see how it works out," right? Because you're 17 or 21 or whatever it is. And they say, "Yeah, that's not really how it works." Well, I'm here to tell you that that is actually how it works, right? So I am somebody who was absolutely like that and who believed in the unbelievability of non-reality. Now, that was a lot of negatives in one sentence. So let me see if I can simplify it. I believed in the dream. And when I was young, as I said, I went to performing arts school. I got trained to do a lot of things. I decided I wanted to be a sound designer, and I decided I wanted to be a sound designer on Broadway. That was my dream. And I decided that at about 16 years old. And at about 18 years old, I was standing on Broadway in a Broadway theater in New York City in the Walter Kerr, working on a Broadway show. And that is because all of those people who said to me, that's not really how the world works, didn't get in. It didn't come into my ears, right? Now, as I got older, as I experienced the world more, of course those messages got in, because the world can beat you up a little bit. But the more you can tap in to your own knowing and release other people's opinions about whether it will work or not work, the easier it's going to be for you to really have that confidence, that inner confidence. Also, I just want to point out on this one that if you practice inside your head the rules of brainstorming, then you're going to have a much easier time, right? The rules of brainstorming, as I'm reciting them here, I'm sure there are other ones, are that you don't judge. You just have ideas and you don't judge them. And nobody gets to say that they won't work before we even have explored them. So that's really important. Allow yourself to have the thoughts and to bring them out and in the privacy of your own brain and not shoot them down. Okay. This brings me directly to comparing your insides to other people's outsides. So this people do all the time where they go like, well, I have that same training and I did that same stuff and I performed really well in this scenario and that person is getting the promotion. That person is getting the attention. That other person is getting what I want and I am not getting it, right? And you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're going through on the inside. You know that they look confident. You know that they're getting the things that you're talking about wanting, but you don't know what it feels like on the inside. And it's super important to remember that confidence is an inside job, right? We want to feel confident, right? We don't really, it doesn't matter if we look confident, because if we feel confident, then we're able to go places and do things that we really want to do, no matter how people perceive us. Okay. So, I do also want to, before I leave that one, I just want to point out that that is a social media pitfall as well, right? So when you're looking at somebody's, Instagram feed and they have 10,000, 100,000, a million followers, and you're like, why can't I get past 153 or 1,053 or 10,053, right? Don't compare. Do not compare. They are not you and you are not them. And your path is yours, right? So when you have confidence in that you are actually going in the direction you want to go, that's a really different kind of inner confidence than being able to look confident in front of other people, right? So there's an inside job there. Okay, number six, using self-sabotage to prove your unworthiness. Wow, right? So using self-sabotage, I when I thought of this, when I was really digging deep into this list, I thought of this person I used to know who worked at the Metropolitan Opera. And he got the job. He was great at the job. People loved him, but he just showed up late every single day. Didn't matter what time he left the house. Didn't matter what time his train came. It didn't matter, because no matter what, he walked in that place 5 minutes late. And there was a day that he looked at me and he said, I'm doing that. I'm making myself less attractive to the people around me, kind of on purpose, because I decided not to respect the rules, because I want to feel like an individual and they see me in such a shiny light. They think I am so good that I'm not sure I can handle it, right? And so I constantly do something to get in the way of their good opinion of me. So using that self-sabotage mechanism, for you, it could be something different than being late every day, right? It could be that you decide that there are problems in your house that need to be dealt with instead of going to work. It could be that you need to get your car fixed right at that incredibly important moment in your work, right? Whatever that is you getting in your own way, you can find it. And stop using it to prove yourself to yourself unworthy. And number 7, refusing to celebrate every little thing. This is my favorite because I see people who are highly educated in spiritual matters, who have real practices in their lives of things that should be getting them ahead, right? And they still miss this. So I will say there are very few people on the earth that get this one exactly right. Finding something to celebrate in every little moment is so important. And that means that when somebody pays you a compliment, when somebody says thank you, when somebody says that was really nice, when somebody says these are simple, these are super simple, don't just say, oh yeah, okay, great, thank you for saying that, right? Don't just accept as we're taught to do, right? We're taught not to push it away, although sometimes we do. Pushing it away is going to help you to feel less confident. Accepting it is definitely going to help you to feel more okay. But when you say to yourself, yeah, hey, somebody saw something good, and I want to think on that. I want to celebrate that in me. I want to really embrace the fact that I am showing up for this person in this way. And that doesn't mean that you have to be rude or self-centered, but take those few moments, those inside moments, to really, really celebrate yourself, celebrate the people around you. And it's so easy to show up for that person. I love showing up for that person. Whatever that sentence looks like for you, really take it in and celebrate every little moment that you can find in a day. And it will change your relationship to the judgment of confidence, right? Because that's what you do. You judge yourself. Can I do it? Can I not do it? I'm in the future. I'm trying to project myself into the future during that moment and say, yeah, I'm going to be okay in that moment. I'm not going to be okay in that moment. What do you know? Stay present. Stay absolutely present and be in the flow of yes. Find yes. That's what those celebrations are. When somebody says to you, hey, you're doing a great job, you go, yeah, isn't that fun? Isn't it great? I am really enjoying that this is working out. This feels great. So when you find those yeses, then you open the channels inside of yourself. And this is really important, particularly when you want to move from dealing with a confidence issue all the way into the feeling of freedom, right? That sense of freedom that we want to feel. So that yes is a big part of that journey. So really reach for it. And also, I will say there is a way for you to really focus in on that freedom aspect by going to my free masterclass, okay? And it's called 5 Secrets to Aligning with Freedom and Abundance. So I talk about this for an hour, for a whole hour, and there's a lot in it. So you really want to go there, sign up. It's free. Sign up and just spend an hour. That's all you need to do. Spend that 1 hour focused on freedom and abundance. And these things that we're talking about, they lead you right to the door of actually being able to feel and experience freedom in your life. So go there and take it one step further. I am so glad that we got to spend this time together. I didn't say it out loud for those of you who are not watching the screen. It's at freeabundance.com. Okay, so freeabundance.com is how you get to that 5 Secrets to Aligning with Freedom and Abundance free masterclass. I'm so glad we got to spend this time together, and I look forward to seeing you next time.